one of the strangest changes that I've seen in my lifetime has been the death of truth. There are now things you cannot say even though they are true. Or if you do point out the truth, it doesn't seem to count. Now, the most bizarre example now is that you cannot say a woman is a woman, because even the medical journal Lancet, in a cover story now, has called women just bodies with vaginas. It says historically the anatomy and the physiology of bodies with vaginas have been neglected. Now, this is incredible. And the head of the British Labour Party, just to make it worse, now says it's actually rude to point out that women are biologically different to people born male.
Is it transphobic to say only women have a cervix?
Well, it is something that shouldn't be said. It is not right.
Joining me is Caroline Di Russo, lawyer, business owner and columnist. Caroline, I'm just staggered by what I'm seeing. Let's first do the Lancet thing. Lancet describes women as bodies with vaginas. That's caused a lot of people to cancel their subscription. Does that surprise you? Does this description of women offend you?
Well, it doesn't surprise me that people are cancelling their subscriptions. Does the definition itself, well, it does offend me, but just not on that basis alone. It's actually pretty disgusting. So if we go back and they want to talk historically, well, let's talk historically. The left have said for a long time that historically women were treated like chattels and et cetera, well, you know what, at least they were sentient beings. You know, I was appalled a few months back talking about people who menstruate. Well, at least people who menstruate are sentient beings. So now not only have we been deprived of our womanhood, we've been totally dehumanised. We are now like cadavers, this inanimate warehouse with an inbuilt baby factory. How did we get here?
I'm not necessarily... Caroline, you crossed the red line there by saying you had to have babies to be a woman. Wait a minute. That now is no longer so sure. Explain, though,
true,
why
but your cervix is related.
No, but, well, look, talk about the cervix. You tell me why it's now offensive by the head of the British Labour Party. It's deemed offensive to tell a biological truth that women indeed do have a cervix.
I can't understand this. And, you know, Keir Starmer got a little bit of a sting a few months back in the Hartlepool by-election, where a seat that was part of what was, you know, is called the Red Wall, all that traditional Labor territory, has fallen to the Conservative Party. There is now a Tory as an MP for Hartlepool. And the reason that happened was there was this complaint that the Labor Party had abandoned the working class. But he doesn't seem to have taken that on board. And much like the Labor Party here, the Labor Party in the UK is an inner-city progressive party. It's no longer a party about the working class. It's a party about, you know, pronouns and penis tucking. So we can't really be surprised that he thinks that women aren't the only people who have cervixes, and it's offensive to say so. The other thing is, just a couple of days before, he did back. They're having a conversation in Parliament at the moment about women-only spaces, and he did say that there are some spaces where trans women should be excluded from women-only spaces. So he needs to pick a pony and ride it, because I'm telling you right now, the working class in Britain are not buying this.
I love your assumption, and I think it's actually correct, that the working class will not buy some of the rot now preached by the moral arbiters of the elite. Just quickly, Caroline, you're from Western Australia, the state with the toughest border controls during this virus. Qantas has now said, well, if that's how it is, we're going to skip Perth when London flights resume. We'll stop using Perth and go to Darwin instead for our non-stop flight departures. Is that fair enough?
Well, of course, it's fair enough. And look, plenty of Joyce Keeper has been paid over the last 2 years, that's for sure. But ultimately, as we recover from the pandemic and as we open up again, businesses need to be able to make commercial decisions. And, Mark McGowan here has made it clear that he doesn't want to open our border for Christmas, and it will be sometime next year. So Qantas actually doesn't have anything other than a commercial choice to make here. Whether he loves Western Australia or not, he needs to make the best commercial decision for Qantas, and if that's to fly direct Darwin to London, so be it.
Caroline Di Russo, I'm afraid it's going to be a little longer before you can see Italy, but maybe you should migrate to a state with more sense. Who knows? Thank you so much for your time.